If someone had told me that one day my little dachshund would become best friends with a Kunekune pig, I probably would have laughed. Even now, every time I watch them race around the yard like crazy and then curl up together for a nap just minutes later, it still feels unbelievable. The funny thing is, their friendship began with my biggest fear. Could a tiny dog and a pig ever really be safe together? It all started with Bruno. He was the very first pet our family ever had, and from the day he came home, I knew he was something special. Bruno was tiny, but he carried himself like he was the biggest dog in the world.
Food, please.
Good job.
He was curious about absolutely everything. Wherever I went, Bruno followed. The moment he heard an unfamiliar sound, he would rush over to investigate before anyone else. Those little legs never slowed down his adventurous spirit. My kids absolutely adored him. All Bruno had to do was zoom around the living room or steal a sock and run away, and the whole house would burst into laughter. He had a way of turning the simplest moments into unforgettable memories. But after all the excitement, Bruno had a softer side. He would jump onto the couch, curl up beside me or my husband, and make sure he was still the most loved little baby in the family. Still, I began noticing something. Bruno had endless energy. He always wanted to play, explore, and be around someone. That was when I started wondering if maybe he needed a real friend. Then I made a decision that surprised almost everyone. The truth is, owning a Kunekune pig had been a lifelong dream of mine. When I had the chance to rescue Peggy, I knew I couldn't let it pass me by. The day Peggy came home, I was excited, but I was also nervous. One question kept running through my mind. How would Bruno react? Would the two of them actually get along? Peggy settled into her new home almost immediately. She was incredibly smart and just a little stubborn. Whenever it was mealtime or she wanted attention, she always found a way to make sure the whole family noticed her. What reassured me most was how gentle Peggy was with the kids. Even though she was much bigger than Bruno, she always watched her steps carefully, almost as if she knew she needed to be extra gentle around smaller family members. Their first meeting went much better than I expected. Bruno raced circles around Peggy with endless excitement, while Peggy simply stood there watching him. Every now and then, she'd gently sniff him, almost like she was trying to figure out who this energetic little troublemaker was. Within just a few days, they were playing together nonstop. They chased each other all over the yard until they were completely exhausted. Sometimes Bruno even tried convincing Peggy to join one of his silly games that only he seemed to understand. Of course, Peggy didn't let Bruno get away with everything. Whenever he became too noisy or pushed his luck, she'd give him a gentle nudge or one serious look, and Bruno instantly remembered who was really in charge. as the one caring for both of them. I never took their friendship for granted. Every time they played together, I kept a close eye on them. Even though they've never hurt each other, I always wanted to make sure both Bruno and Peggy stayed safe. But the longer I watched them together, the more I realized I'd worried far too much. I no longer saw a dog and a pig. I simply saw two best friends who looked for each other every morning, played until they were worn out, explored the world side by side, and ended every day sleeping peacefully together. People often ask me what makes their friendship so special. I think it's because Bruno and Peggy have never cared that they're different species. They only know that life is more fun when they're together. And every time I watch them running across the yard before curling up side by side for a nap, I can't help but smile. Sometimes, the most beautiful friendships are the ones nobody ever expects to happen.